The vast observation deck of Orion X station hung suspended in the velvet darkness of space, its crystalline walls offering an unobstructed view of two distant star systems, Galanth and Varelli, whose light painted the chamber in soft blues and ambers. Ambassador Maya Nguyen stood alone at the edge of the deck, her reflection ghostly against the backdrop of infinite stars. In her hands, she held a small, holographic projector displaying her prepared speech, humanity's first address to the Intergalactic Council. 4 minutes until session commencement. Ambassador Nguyen announced the station's AI in a melodious voice that seemed to emanate from the air itself. Maya nodded, though there was no physical entity to acknowledge her gesture. She straightened her midnight blue diplomatic uniform, adorned only with Earth's simple insignia, a blue sphere embraced by olive branches. The year 2175 marked humanity's boldest step into the galactic community, their formal application to join the Council of 12 Species. For decades, Earth had established trade routes, cultural exchanges, and diplomatic missions with various civilizations. They had mastered faster-than-light travel, terraformed Mars and Europa, and achieved unprecedented peace among their own nations. Yet the final recognition, full membership in the Intergalactic Council, remained elusive. Today was supposed to change everything. 2 minutes, Ambassador, the AI reminded. Maya took a deep breath and tucked away the projector. She had memorized every word anyway. The speech was the culmination of years of preparation, hundreds of diplomatic briefings, and the collective hopes of 8 billion humans. She made her way toward the council chamber, her footsteps soundless on the station's gravity-adjusted floor. As she approached the massive doors made of a material that resembled both metal and wood, she could hear the low murmur of voices inside, 12 distinct species conversing in the universal standard language. The doors parted silently. The circular chamber beyond was arranged in 3 concentric rings of platforms, each higher than the one before it. At the center stood a single podium, bathed in soft light. Around it, the 12 council members occupied their designated positions, representatives of the oldest and most advanced civilizations in the charted galaxy. The Zephyri, with their crystalline exoskeletons that refracted light in hypnotic patterns, occupied the highest tier alongside the amorphous Morvox, whose containment suits housed their gaseous forms. The middle tier featured the 4-armed Quarian diplomats and the telepathic Novan delegates from Athena. The lower tier seated the remaining species, including their newest member, the aquatic Celestians, who had joined only 30 years prior. The council speaker, Elder Thaxon of the Zephyri, activated the chamber's acoustic field. His voice, though quiet, carried perfectly to every corner. "We welcome Ambassador Maya Nguyen of Earth, who comes before us to present humanity's petition for membership in the Intergalactic Council." Maya walked to the central podium. Her posture relaxed, yet dignified, exactly as she had practiced. The faces around her, some with multiple eyes, others with none at all, watched with varying degrees of interest, skepticism, and in a few cases, what she hoped was encouragement. "Honorable representatives of the Council," she began, her voice steady. "I stand before you today not merely as an ambassador of Earth, but as a voice for humanity's collective journey. Our path to this moment has been marked by both tremendous achievements and humbling failures." She spoke for precisely the allotted 12 minutes, outlining humanity's scientific advances, artistic contributions, and most importantly, their progress toward lasting peace. She acknowledged their troubled history, the wars, the environmental crises they had overcome, the painful lessons learned, while emphasizing how each challenge had ultimately strengthened their commitment to harmony. As she concluded, Maya noticed subtle reactions among the council members. The young Novan representative, Liray, nodded almost imperceptibly. The Zephyri remained motionless, their crystalline features revealing nothing. "We do not claim perfection," Maya said in closing. We offer instead our unwavering dedication to growth, to understanding, and to contributing to the greater good of all sentient life. We ask for the opportunity to stand among you as equals, to learn from your wisdom, and to share our unique perspective in the continuing evolution of our shared galaxy. A moment of silence followed her speech. Elder Thaxon raised a crystalline appendage. The Council will now vote on Earth's petition for membership. Maya stepped back from the podium, but remained in the center as the voting commenced. Each representative activated a control on their console. A holographic display appeared above the chamber's center, tallying the votes in real time. 3 green lights, affirmative votes, appeared first. The Novan, the Celestian, and the Taraxi representatives had voted in favor. Maya felt a flicker of hope. Then came the amber lights, abstentions. 2 species had chosen not to commit either way. Finally, 7 red lights illuminated the display. 7 votes against Earth's membership. The chamber fell silent. Maya kept her expression neutral, through years of diplomatic training, though her heart raced. This was worse than even their most pessimistic projections. Elder Thaxon spoke, his voice colder than before. With a vote of 3 in favor, 2 abstentions, and 7 against, Earth's petition for membership is denied. The Morvox representative's suit emitted a series of clicks as its translation system activated. The Council has determined that humanity has not yet demonstrated sufficient civilization. Your species' propensity for violence, your unpredictable nature, and your rapid technological advancement without corresponding ethical development present concerns that cannot be dismissed. Maya opened her mouth to respond, to request clarification or appeal, but Elder Thaxon cut her off with a gesture. This decision is final for the standard cycle of 1,000 hours. The Council extends permitted visitation rights for your diplomatic team to depart the station. Further applications will not be considered until the next eligible cycle. This session is concluded. One by one, the Council members deactivated their stations and began to leave. Only Lyrae Novan lingered, her iridescent eyes meeting Maya's briefly before she too departed. Maya stood alone in the vast chamber, the echo of the closing doors reverberating through the now empty space. 1,000 hours, barely 41 Earth days, before they could even consider reapplying. And, with 7 votes against them, the chances of reversal seemed impossibly remote. She touched the communication device on her wrist. Maya to Earth Central. We have a situation. The journey back to her quarters felt interminable. News traveled quickly on Orion X, and she could feel the subtle shift in how station personnel regarded her. Some with pity, others with barely concealed satisfaction. By the time she reached her temporary residence, she had received notification that her access to certain station areas had already been restricted. Inside, she activated the secure quantum communication system that linked directly to Earth's diplomatic headquarters in the rebuilt United Nations complex in Geneva. The holographic projection of Dr. Elena Ruiz, Earth's Secretary of Science and Chief Strategist for the Council application, appeared before her. The older woman's expression was grim. She had already received the news. 9-3, Elena said, skipping any greeting. Worse than we anticipated. 7 against, 2 abstentions, Maya corrected, sinking into a chair. The Juresi and the Vol abstained. Elena's holographic form paced across the room. We've received reports of immediate impacts. 3 trading vessels were denied docking permissions at Morvox stations. The cultural exchange program on Zephyri Prime has been suspended indefinitely. Maya closed her eyes briefly. They're sending a message. Diplomatic rejection wasn't enough. They're implementing a soft quarantine. It's more than that, came another voice, as a second hologram materialized. Admiral Leo Tan, commander of Earth's Global Defense Force. His weathered face was set in lines of concern. We're detecting communication blackouts across multiple channels. Non-essential transmissions to human outposts are being delayed or blocked entirely. They're isolating us, Maya concluded, making an example of the application that failed. The question is why, Elena said. Our intelligence suggested we had at least 5 votes secured. What changed? Maya thought back to the council chamber, to the subtle interactions she had observed. The older species led the opposition: Zephyri, Morvox, Quarian, the founding members. I believe they see us as a threat to the established order. A threat? Leo's eyebrows rose. We're centuries behind their technological development, but advancing faster than any species they've encountered, Maya countered, and with a history that makes them nervous. They don't see our peace as sustainable. They see it as a temporary lull before our violent nature resurfaces. Elena's hologram flickered slightly as she crossed her arms. So, what's our response? Formal protest? Appeal to individual council members? Maya shook her head. The traditional diplomatic channels are closed to us now. We need to think differently. She paused, her mind racing through possibilities. I noticed something during my time here. There's a generational divide among many species. The younger representatives seem more open to Earth's inclusion. Like the Novan, Leo noted. Exactly. Lyrae Novan voted for us, despite her elders' opposition. The established power structures are showing cracks. Maya leaned forward. I believe we need a two-pronged approach. I'll stay here and work the informal channels, connect with the progressive elements among the younger generations. While we do what from Earth? Elena asked. Maya's expression hardened with determination. Create something they can't ignore. Something that demonstrates humanity's true nature in a way no council vote can dismiss. You have something specific in mind, Leo observed. Not yet, Maya admitted. But, whatever it is, it needs to be unprecedented, peaceful, yet powerful. And it needs to reach every corner of the galaxy within the next 1,000 hours. The holographic projections of Elena and Leo exchanged glances. We'll assemble a task force immediately, Elena said. The best minds from every field. And I'll ensure you have whatever security and logistical support you need, Leo added. Maya nodded, feeling the first stirrings of hope. We have 41 days to change the galaxy's perception of humanity. Let's make them count. As the holograms faded, Maya turned to look out the viewport at the distant stars. Somewhere out there, the civilizations that had rejected Earth were going about their business, probably already forgetting the failed application. But they would remember humanity soon enough. This wasn't over. It had barely begun. The next morning, Maya began her unofficial campaign. With her diplomatic status reduced, but not revoked, she still had access to the station's public areas. She started in the observatory lounge, a neutral gathering place where representatives from various species could interact informally. She spotted Lyrae Novan, sitting alone near the transparent dome that offered a spectacular view of a nearby nebula. The young Novan was distinctive, even among her own kind, with skin that shifted subtly between shades of blue and silver, reflecting her emotional state. Currently, it rippled with patterns that Maya had learned to recognize as contemplative. Ambassador Nguyen, Lyrae acknowledged as Maya approached. I wondered if you would seek me out. Maya sat across from her. I appreciated your vote yesterday. Lyrae's skin briefly flashed a deeper blue. Embarrassment or modesty? Maya wasn't entirely sure. It was the correct decision, though my elder disagrees. Your species has accomplished much in a relatively short evolutionary period. Not enough to convince the council, apparently. The council. Lyrae's voice trailed off as she glanced around to ensure they weren't overheard. The council is an institution resistant to change. Many of the elder representatives have held their positions for centuries. Their perspective is calcified. Maya leaned forward slightly. Yet you see things differently. I am young by Novan standards, barely 200 of your Earth years. But I have studied your history extensively. Humanity has shown remarkable resilience and capacity for growth. Your artistic expressions alone demonstrate a depth of empathy that many council species took millennia longer to develop. If you believe that, perhaps others of your generation do as well. Liray's skin rippled with subtle patterns of agreement. There are movements among the younger generations of many species. We communicate across traditional boundaries. We question the rigid structures our elders maintain. Is there a way I could speak with these groups? Maya asked carefully. Liray was silent for a moment. Officially, such contacts would be discouraged after yesterday's vote. Unofficially, she extended a slender hand, pressing something into Maya's palm. This will grant you access to our communication networks. Be discreet. The council monitoring systems are thorough. Maya closed her fingers around the small device, careful not to draw attention to the exchange. Thank you. I should warn you, Liray added, rising to leave. Even among the progressive factions, there are concerns about humanity. Your history of conflict is troubling to many. If you wish to change minds, you will need to address this directly. Understood. As Liray departed, Maya examined the small crystal disc in her hand. It appeared decorative to casual observation, but contained access codes to communication channels outside official monitoring. This was exactly the kind of opening she had hoped for. Over the next several days, Maya connected with representatives from various progressive movements across multiple species. She held clandestine meetings in lesser-used sections of the station, participated in encrypted communication sessions, and gradually built a network of potential allies. Meanwhile, on Earth, Elena Ruiz had assembled her team in the cavernous main hall of the Science Ministry in Geneva. The space, once the site of old United Nations emergency sessions, now housed a diverse group of Earth's most brilliant minds: scientists, artists, philosophers, and communication specialists from every continent. We have 36 days remaining, Elena announced to the assembled crowd. The massive holographic display behind her showed a countdown timer and a rotating image of Orion X station. Our objective is clear, but challenging. We need to create a demonstration of humanity's true nature that can reach across interstellar distances and communicate beyond language barriers. Dr. Amir Patel, Earth's leading quantum communications engineer, raised his hand. The Council controls most of the established communication networks. Any conventional transmission we send will be subject to their filtering systems. Then we go unconventional, Elena replied. What are our alternatives? There's the Architect Network, suggested a voice from the back of the room. The crowd parted to reveal an elderly woman in a wheelchair, Dr. Sofia Mendez, one of the pioneers of interstellar communication technology. Elena frowned. The Architect Network hasn't been operational for decades. It's pre-contact technology. Precisely why the Council doesn't monitor it, Sofia countered. The network was Earth's first attempt at deep space communication, using quantum entanglement principles we barely understood at the time. We abandoned it when we adopted standardized galactic communication protocols. But the infrastructure still exists. Can it be reactivated? Admiral Tan asked from his position near the front. Amir stepped forward, his expression thoughtful. Theoretically, yes. The quantum cores should still maintain their entanglement states, even after all this time. But the interface systems would need complete reconstruction, and we'd need to establish new relay points to reach beyond our solar system. How long would that take? Elena pressed. Amir and Sofia exchanged glances. With a dedicated team and unlimited resources, Amir calculated. 25 days at minimum. That leaves us less than 2 weeks to create and transmit our message, Elena noted, cutting it close. What exactly will this message be? Asked a tall woman with striking features, Zara Okafor, Earth's most celebrated composer and sound engineer. Elena turned to address the entire assembly. That's what we're here to determine. We need something that transcends cultural barriers. Something uniquely human, yet universally comprehensible. Something that showcases our capacity for peace, cooperation, and emotional depth. Music, someone suggested. Art? Mathematical proofs of our advanced thinking? The suggestions flew from around the room, each quickly evaluated and most discarded as insufficient. What about voices? Zara said suddenly, her rich voice cutting through the debate. Not just music, not just words, but the sound of humanity itself. Billions of voices, speaking in harmony. A hush fell over the gathering. The World Sound Project, Zara continued, gaining confidence as the concept took shape in her mind. We collect recordings from every human on Earth, every language, every accent, every age. A single message of peace, repeated by billions. The sheer scale would be unprecedented. Elena's eyes widened at the audacity of the proposal. The logistical challenges would be enormous, but not insurmountable. Admiral Tan interjected. The Global Defense Network could be temporarily repurposed to collect and process the recordings. We have communications infrastructure that reaches even the most remote human settlements. And the impact would be undeniable, Sophia added. No species in the Council has a population even approaching our numbers. The sound of billions of voices speaking as one would be, well, galactic in scale. Elena nodded slowly, the plan taking shape in her mind. We'll need to develop a simple message that can be translated into every human language. Something authentic that captures our essence. And we'll need to accelerate the architect network reconstruction, Amir added. If we're transmitting that much data, we'll need every quantum relay we can activate. Then it's decided, Elena declared. Project World Sound begins now. Admiral Tan, coordinate with global authorities to establish recording protocols. Dr. Patel, assemble your team for the architect network reconstruction. Zara, work with linguists to craft our message. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each participant. We have one chance to change the galaxy's perception of humanity. Let's make it count. As the meeting dispersed into focused working groups, Elena stepped aside with Admiral Tan. Do you think this can actually work? She asked quietly. The Admiral's expression was solemn. I've seen humanity accomplish the impossible before. But even if it fails, I believe this is the right approach. We shouldn't try to be what the Council wants us to be. We should show them who we truly are, all of us, together. Elena nodded, drawing strength from his conviction. Then let's get to work. Back on Orion X, Maya had made significant progress with her unofficial diplomatic campaign. Using Lyray's access codes, she had connected with dissident groups from 7 different species, including some from civilizations that had voted against Earth's membership. She now sat in a secluded service corridor with representatives from 3 of these movements. A young Quarian named Thex, whose 4 arms moved in constant, nervous patterns. A Zephyri youth called Lynx, whose crystalline structure was less rigid than the elders of his species. And Mora, a Celestian whose aquatic containment suit was decorated with symbols of protest. The Council's decision has only intensified discussions among our networks, Thex explained, his translator converting his chittering speech to standard language. Many question why a species that has achieved global peace in less than a century should be denied, while the Juresi, who still maintain caste-based oppression, were granted membership 300 years ago. The standards are applied inconsistently, Lynx agreed, his voice resonating through his crystalline form. The founding species fear change. They fear your rapid advancement. Maya considered this. Fear isn't a rational basis for policy decisions. But it is an effective tool for maintaining power, Mora noted, her words bubbling through her aquatic medium. The Council elders use selective history to perpetuate stereotypes about humanity. They reference your world wars, your nuclear age, but conveniently ignore the Morvox purges or the Zephyri subjugation era. Every species has darkness in their past, Maya said, We don't deny ours. That transparency is precisely what makes the elders uncomfortable, Thex replied. Most council civilizations have carefully curated their histories, erasing their greatest shames. Humanity's willingness to acknowledge past failures is seen as destabilizing. Maya leaned forward. We're planning something, a demonstration of humanity's true nature. When it happens, we'll need voices throughout the galaxy to amplify its message. The three representatives exchanged glances. The progressive networks stand ready, Lynx assured her. But whatever you're planning must be powerful enough to break through centuries of prejudice. It will be, Maya promised, though she herself had only the vaguest idea of what Earth was preparing. Her secure communications with Elena had been necessarily vague, given the risk of council surveillance. As the clandestine meeting concluded, Maya returned to her quarters to find a priority message waiting. Using the encryption protocols Elena had provided, she accessed the communication. Elena's face appeared, looking tired but determined. Project World Sound is underway. We're collecting voices from every corner of Earth. A single message in billions of voices. Meanwhile, Amir's team is reconstructing the Architect network. If all goes according to plan, we'll be ready to transmit in 22 days. That's cutting it close, Maya observed. The Council's 1,000-hour deadline expires in 24 days. We'll make it, Elena assured her. How are things on your end? I've established connections with progressive movements among 7 species. They're prepared to amplify our message once it's transmitted. Good. We'll need all the help we can get. Elena hesitated. Maya, you should know. The situation on Earth is deteriorating. The Council's soft quarantine is having real effects. Trade disruptions are causing economic instability. Some are questioning whether we should simply withdraw our application and accept a lesser status. Maya's jaw tightened. That's exactly what the Council elders want. To make an example of us. To discourage other emerging civilizations from challenging the established order. I know. We're holding the line, but the pressure is mounting. Tell them to hold on just a little longer, Maya urged. If Project World Sound succeeds, everything changes. As the encrypted communication ended, Maya turned to the viewport, gazing out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 8 billion humans were adding their voices to a message that would soon reach across the galaxy. She only hoped it would be enough. On Earth, Project World Sound had evolved into a global phenomenon. The initial infrastructure for collecting recordings had quickly proven inadequate, as people across the planet embraced the initiative with unexpected enthusiasm. In the central processing facility in Nairobi, Zara Okafor worked alongside thousands of sound engineers, analyzing the incoming recordings. The vast chamber hummed with activity, holographic displays showing real-time data from collection points around the world. We've passed 4 billion distinct recordings, an assistant reported. Still accelerating. Zara nodded. Her attention focused on the audio compilation taking shape. The message itself was simple, just 3 sentences crafted by a team of linguists, philosophers, and diplomats. We are humanity, one species of many voices. We seek peace among the stars, as we have found peace among ourselves. We ask not for power, but for partnership. Translated into over 7,000 human languages and dialects. These words were being spoken by people of all ages, from every nation, culture, and walk of life. Some spoke in whispers, others with powerful projection. Children's voices mingled with those of centenarians. Professional orators shared space with those who had never recorded their voice before. The harmonic structure is unlike anything I've ever created, Zara explained to Admiral Tan as he toured the facility. We're not simply layering the voices. We're creating a dynamic acoustic pattern that evolves as more voices join. The mathematical complexity alone is staggering. And the emotional impact? The Admiral asked. Zara gestured to a nearby sound booth. Judge for yourself. Inside the booth, isolated from external noise. Admiral Tan listened as Zara activated a sample of the compilation. Just a fraction of the voices recorded so far, blended into the evolving harmony. The effect was immediate and profound. Tears sprang unbidden to his eyes as the sound washed over him. Billions of human voices, speaking as one, yet each distinctly present. "It's overwhelming," he admitted, as they exited the booth. "That's the point," Zara said. No sentient being with the capacity for empathy could hear this and still believe humanity is merely violent or unpredictable. This is who we truly are, diverse yet united, complex yet harmonious. Across the globe in Melbourne, Amir Patel's team worked around the clock to resurrect the Architect network. The original quantum cores, massive crystalline structures housed in heavily shielded facilities, were being carefully reactivated one by one. The entanglement patterns are degraded, but intact. Amir reported during a global coordination meeting. "We've successfully re-established connections with the Lunar Relay and the Mars Colonial Network. The challenge remains extending beyond our solar system." "Could we repurpose existing FTL communication buoys?" Elena suggested from her position in Geneva. Amir shook his head. "Too risky. The Council monitors those networks. We need to deploy new quantum relays along the old Architect pathways, completely independent of established systems. That would require physical transport of entangled quantum pairs," someone objected. "We don't have time." "Actually, we do," interjected a new voice. A holographic projection appeared. Captain Sophia Wu, of the deep space vessel Odysseus. "My ship is already beyond the heliopause, conducting research on interstellar medium. We have quantum storage facilities on board and enough propulsion for rapid deployment of relay buoys." Admiral Tan leaned forward. "You'd be operating without official sanction, Captain. The Council could interpret this as provocative action." Captain Wu's expression remained resolute. "The Odysseus is registered as a scientific vessel. We'll maintain that cover while deploying the relays. Besides, what's the Council going to do? Reject our membership application?" A ripple of nervous laughter spread through the meeting. "It's still cutting it close," Amir warned. "Even at maximum FTL, the Odysseus would need to deploy at least 5 relays to reach the nearest Council territories. That's at least 18 days of continuous operation. Then we'll have to work in parallel." Elena decided. "Captain Wu, begin relay deployment immediately. Dr. Patel, continue network reconstruction. Zara, finalize the world sound composition. We need everything ready to transmit in exactly 19 days. As the global effort intensified, Maya continued her clandestine diplomacy on Orion X. Her network of progressive allies had grown to include representatives from all 12 Council species, though many participated at great personal risk. The Council's reaction to Earth's rejection had grown increasingly severe. Trade restrictions had expanded to a near-complete embargo. Human diplomatic staff throughout Council space reported increasing isolation and hostility. "They're afraid," Lyrae explained during a secret meeting in an unused maintenance corridor. "The elder representatives monitor the progressive networks. They know something is building, though they don't know what." "Has my cover been compromised?" Maya asked. "Not yet, but security around you has intensified. Your communications are being monitored more closely than ever." Maya nodded grimly. "Then we'll need to be even more careful. When Earth's message comes, and it will come soon, we'll need to ensure it reaches as many worlds as possible." "The young are ready," Lyrae assured her. "On my world, in secret gatherings, they speak of humanity with hope, not fear. They see in your species a reflection of their own desire for change." "And the elders?" Lyrae's skin darkened with concern. "They prepare countermeasures. Whatever humanity is planning, the Council will try to contain it, control the narrative." "They can try," Maya said with quiet confidence. But some messages cannot be contained. The days passed with increasing tension. On Earth, the world's sound composition neared completion as the final voices were integrated into the harmonic structure. The Architect network gradually extended its reach as the Odysseus deployed quantum relays along a carefully plotted course. And on Orion X, Maya strengthened her coalition while evading increasingly aggressive Council surveillance. With just 3 days remaining before the 1,000-hour deadline, Elena called an emergency meeting of the project leadership. "We've encountered a critical problem," she announced, her holographic form appearing simultaneously in command centers around the world. "The Council has detected the activation of the Architect network. They're implementing countermeasures, signal jamming, quantum disruption fields around key worlds." "Can we bypass their defenses?" Admiral Tan asked. Amir's expression was grim. "Not with our current configuration. The quantum relays established by the Odysseus provide coverage to approximately 60% of Council space. But the most populated worlds, the ones we most need to reach, are now protected by disruption fields." A heavy silence fell over the connected command centers. "Then we failed," someone said quietly. "No." Maya's voice came through suddenly, her encrypted channel cutting into the Earth transmission. "We haven't failed. We just need to adapt our approach." All eyes turned to her holographic image. "The Council is focusing their defenses on conventional transmission vectors, even quantum ones," Maya explained. "But there's another way to reach their worlds, a way they've forgotten about because it's so ancient." "What are you suggesting?" Elena asked. "The Architect network isn't just a communication system," Maya said. "It was named after the original mysterious network discovered during humanity's first deep space explorations, artifacts of an ancient civilization that created the foundation for all current galactic communication." Amir's eyes widened with understanding. "The precursor relays, the original quantum network that predates even the oldest Council civilizations." "Exactly," Maya confirmed. "The Council built their systems on top of this foundation, but the original pathways still exist, buried beneath layers of newer technology. If we can access those pathways, we could bypass their defenses entirely," Amir finished, his mind already racing through the possibilities. "But the interface requirements would be entirely different. We'd need to completely reconfigure our transmission protocols." "Can it be done in 3 days?" Elena demanded. Amir hesitated. "Maybe. If we redirect all resources, work around the clock." He looked up, determination hardening his features. "Yes, it can be done." "Then do it," Elena ordered. "Maya, what's your status?" "My network is in place. When the transmission comes, we'll ensure it reaches every corner of the galaxy that the Council can't block." "Good, because we'll only get one chance at this." Elena surveyed the determined faces of her team. 3 days, people. 3 days to change the course of human history. The final 72 hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. On Earth, Amir's team worked without rest, reconfiguring the Architect network to interface with the ancient precursor relays. Zara finalized the world's sound composition, now incorporating the voices of over 7 billion humans, nearly 90% of Earth's population. In space, the Odysseus completed its deployment mission and went dark, hiding in the shadow of a rogue planet to avoid Council detection. And on Orion X, Maya carefully positioned her allies, ensuring they would be ready when the moment came. With just 6 hours remaining before the 1,000-hour deadline expired, Earth was ready. In the Geneva Command Center, Elena stood before the assembled project leaders. The massive display behind her showed a countdown timer and a global readiness map, with green indicators lighting up across every continent. "Project World Sound is go for transmission," she announced. "All Architect network nodes are online. Precursor relay interfaces are active and stable. The composition is loaded and ready for broadcast." Admiral Tan stepped forward. "Security protocols are in place. All Earth defense systems are on standby, though we anticipate no military response from the Council. They may not need military action if this fails, Elena noted grimly. Economic and diplomatic isolation could be devastating enough. It won't fail, Amir stated with quiet confidence. The transmission pathway is secure. The message will reach its destinations. Elena nodded and turned to address the entire command center. What we do today will echo across the galaxy for generations to come. This is humanity's true voice, not the distorted image the Council has created, but the reality of who we are. 8 billion individuals, speaking as one. She pressed her palm against the activation console. Commence transmission. Across the Earth, in every nation and settlement. Notification systems alerted the population that the transmission had begun. Those who had contributed their voices felt a surge of pride, knowing their words were now traveling across the stars at impossible speeds, carrying humanity's message to distant worlds. In the quantum networks, the data surged through the reconstructed architect pathways, diving deep beneath the Council's defensive systems to access the ancient precursor relays. The signal propagated faster than light, bypassing conventional routes to emerge simultaneously across thousands of worlds. On Orion X, Maya received the encrypted alert just moments before the transmission reached Council space. She immediately activated the communication device Lyrae had given her, sending a simple message to her network of allies. It begins. Throughout the station and across countless worlds, young progressives from every Council species stood ready. As the transmission broke through, they were positioned near public communication hubs, government centers, and gathering places, prepared to amplify the message. In the Grand Council chamber itself, the 12 elder representatives had gathered for a closed session, discussing the imminent expiration of Earth's waiting period and the concerning activities detected around human space. Their unusual communication efforts must be addressed, Elder Thaxon was saying, his crystalline form gleaming under the chamber lights. Our intelligence suggests they are attempting to circumvent established protocols. The Morvox representative's containment suit bubbled with agitation. Perhaps more severe restrictions are warranted. Their defiance of Council authority cannot be tolerated. Before any could respond, the chamber's communication systems activated unexpectedly. The central holographic display flickered, then stabilized, showing not the expected Council insignia, but a pulsing blue light that seemed to emanate from somewhere unimaginably distant. Security breach, Elder Thaxon declared, moving to deactivate the system. Initiate containment protocols. But the controls did not respond to his touch. The blue light expanded, filling the chamber with a soft glow as the first sounds began to emerge from the audio systems. A single voice at first, speaking the simple message in a language none of them recognized. Then another voice joined, and another, until thousands, then millions, then billions of distinct human voices spoke in harmony. The effect was unlike anything the Council members had ever experienced. The combined voices created not just sound, but a palpable presence, as if all of humanity stood before them in that moment. The harmonic structure evolved continuously as more voices joined, creating patterns of breathtaking complexity and beauty. Elder Thaxon staggered back from the console, his crystalline form resonating involuntarily with the harmonic frequencies. Around the chamber, the other representatives showed similar reactions. The Morvox's containment suit rippled with patterns reflecting the acoustic waves. The telepathic Novans clutched their heads as the emotional impact washed over them. Outside the chamber, throughout Orion X and across thousands of worlds, the same transmission broke through. Public squares, filled with the sound of billions of human voices, speaking as one. Private communication devices activated simultaneously, carrying the message into homes and workplaces. The progressive allies Maya had cultivated stood in these spaces, explaining to any who would listen the true significance of what they were hearing. On Athena, Lyray's homeworld, young Novans gathered in meditation groves, their telepathic abilities amplifying the emotional content of the human voices, sharing the experience across their collective consciousness. On Zephyri Prime, crystalline citizens resonated with the harmonic patterns, creating spectacular light displays that danced in rhythm with the human words. The transmission continued for precisely 1 hour, 60 minutes during which normal communications across council space were completely superseded by the voice of humanity. When it finally ended, the silence that followed seemed to echo with the memory of those billions of voices. In the council chamber, the representatives remained motionless for several minutes after the transmission ceased. Finally, Elder Thaxton spoke, his voice uncharacteristically subdued. This demonstration was unprecedented and unauthorized, the Morvox representative added, though with less force than before. Perhaps, said the Novan elder, speaking for the first time, we should reconsider our assessment of humanity. Before the discussion could continue, the chamber doors opened. Maya Nguyen stood in the entrance, her expression composed but resolute. "Ambassadors," she said, stepping forward without waiting for permission. "You have now heard the true voice of humanity, not just mine, but all of us. 8 billion individuals, united in a desire for peace and partnership." "Your species has violated council communication protocols," Elder Thaxton said, though his usual commanding tone was absent. "We used pathways that existed before your council was formed," Maya countered. "Ancient roots your ancestors discovered but did not create. Roots that belong to no single species, but to all who would use them for understanding rather than division." She moved to the central podium, a breach of protocol that, remarkably, none of the representatives challenged. "The 1,000-hour waiting period expires today. I stand before you again to present humanity's petition for membership in the Intergalactic Council. But I do so now with the full voice of Earth behind me, a voice you have all heard, a voice that cannot be dismissed or forgotten." The chamber fell silent as the representatives exchanged glances. Maya could sense the subtle shift in the atmosphere, confusion, uncertainty, but also something new, respect. "This matter requires consideration," Elder Thaxton finally said. "The council will recess for deliberation." As the representatives filed out, Lyrae Novan approached Maya. "You have changed everything," she said quietly. "The networks are alive with discussion. The public transmission has sparked debates on thousands of worlds. The elders cannot simply dismiss humanity now. Too many have heard your voice." "Is it enough?" Maya asked. Lyrae's skin rippled with cautious optimism. "It is a beginning." Hours later, the council reconvened. The chamber, previously restricted, was now filled with observers, junior representatives, diplomatic staff, and, most significantly, members of the progressive movements from various worlds who had been granted emergency observer status at the insistence of the younger council members. Elder Thaxton activated the formal proceedings. "The council has deliberated on the matter of Earth's demonstration and its renewed petition for membership." Maya stood at the central podium, acutely aware of the historic nature of this moment. "While the method of Earth's communication was irregular," Elder Thaxton continued, "the content has prompted significant reconsideration. The council acknowledges that our previous assessment may have been incomplete." A murmur ran through the observers. "However," the elder continued, raising a crystalline appendage for silence, "full membership cannot be granted immediately. Instead, the council proposes a new protocol, the Galactic Citizenship Challenge. For a period of 12 standard months, Earth will be granted provisional status, during which humanity must demonstrate its commitment to peaceful cooperation and adherence to council principles." Maya maintained her diplomatic composure, though her heart raced. This was unprecedented, a compromise that neither accepted nor rejected Earth's petition. At the conclusion of this period, a final vote will determine Earth's status. Elder Thaxon concluded. Does humanity accept these terms? Maya straightened her shoulders, feeling the weight of 8 billion expectations. Humanity accepts the challenge. We will demonstrate not just our commitment to peace, but our unique capacity to enrich the galactic community through our diversity and resilience. Then it is decided. Elder Thaxon made a formal gesture, and the official record updated to reflect Earth's new provisional status. This session is concluded. As the chamber began to empty, Maya received an encrypted communication from Earth. Elena's face appeared, her expression triumphant despite her exhaustion. We're receiving reports from across Council space, she said. The transmission reached approximately 87% of inhabited worlds. The response has been overwhelming. Public demonstrations, political movements, artistic interpretations of the world's sound. The Council has offered a compromise, Maya informed her. Provisional status and a 12-month challenge period. Better than we hoped, Elena noted. And in 12 months, who knows how much the political landscape will have shifted. The progressive movements are already gaining momentum. This is just the beginning, Maya agreed. Project World Sound did more than change the Council's vote. It changed the consciousness of an entire galaxy. As she prepared to return to Earth, Maya took one last look at the observation deck where she had stood alone just 41 days earlier. The stars beyond the crystalline walls seemed somehow brighter now. The distant systems, not so distant anymore. Humanity had found its voice among the stars. Billions of voices united as one. Impossible to ignore. Impossible to forget. The journey ahead would not be easy. But the first, crucial step had been taken. Earth had made its galactic announcement, and the universe had listened.